What's up, community? Just Jeremy here for another episode of Art of Life Homestead. Today it's a philosophical meandering. So it's bad enough that I can't stay on task with my ramblings. So I don't know where this one's going to lead me. But I've had a lot of things on my mind lately, and I keep wondering how this whole event that humanity is going through, how's it going to work out? In my heart, I believe, I'm an optimist in my heart. In my mind, I'm a jaded, cynical pessimist. And so I have to be mindful of where I focus my attention. That's why we don't have a TV. We have access to a television, but we don't watch network anything. We try to stay away from the news, and as of lately, I've had my phone off. I can get Wi-Fi, and so it limits me on purpose. Sorry, I've got some sheep's oil, and this stuff is delicious. But it limits me on purpose to what I can put my focus on. I have plenty of things that I should be doing and need to be attending right here. So it's kind of a way of forcing me to do the things that I know serve me. Why do we do that? Why is it so hard for us to serve ourselves in a positive way, in a constructive way, and so easy to serve ourselves in a destructive way? Whether it's through terrible diet, terrible vices, terrible ways of thinking, always being afraid, or worse, sticking our head in the sand because we would just rather not think about things that are uncomfortable. But it does make it easy to point the finger at somebody and say, you're the source of my problems. You know what? When I say that, is me looking back at me in the camera, because that's the real truth. You, Jeremy, are the source of your problems. It's true. Because it's not me against an elite. It's not me against some nefarious cabal. It's not me against my neighbors. Not me against some political douchebags, although there seem to be a lot of political douchebags. It's not me against anybody but me. And that's something that has taken me 43 years to figure out. I still haven't embraced it, but I'm starting to. And to do that, you have to look deep inside and ask some really hard questions. And you got to go back to events in your life that are uncomfortable. And really, they're the causes of how we became who we think we are. It's a program, just like a computer. How do we reprogram ourselves? Well, I don't have the easy answer to that just yet, but I know it's something I've been diligently working on, and it's probably the most painful, ugliest, hardest thing I've ever had to do in my whole life. But I believe if I don't do it, that I might actually physically die. I know I will contract some sort of disease, if I don't address these things. And so, one last bite, sorry. And so, if I'm going to get where I want to go and have the abundance that I want, it's not going to be the way that I've been told I had to do it. That's something I've resisted my whole life. And it's not because I'm just a rebel to be a rebel, although I'm damn sure a rebel. It's not because I don't like listening to other people, or I don't like being told what to do, although I don't really like being told what to do. It's not just because I think I'm so smart and I think that everyone else is stupid, although I have certainly conducted myself or spoken in that way, but that really is reflective of my own insecurity and my own need for validation. validation and my own concern for what I see going on around us, or my own feelings of helplessness, because that's present. It's real. But that's also something that I'm having to confront and get a grip on. Now, see, we all think we're alone. We all feel alone. I think most of us do. I think most of us are so disconnected from one another and from our natural environment that we can't help but feel afraid and powerless and lost and hopeless. But I don't think that's the way this is all going to end. I wouldn't have continued to have children if I really believed that. More than ever, I think our children are going to have a completely different world. I mean, let's face it, I live in a very different world than that my parents were brought in. It took my parents a long time to finally realize that. But you know, so many of us try to live a life that someone else wants us to live instead of the life that we want to live, because no one ever really asked, except for when you were a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up, Johnny? I want to be a policeman, or a fireman, a lawyer, a doctor, blah, blah, blah. What did little Johnny really want to be? Well, he never really stopped to think about it. Or if he did, he said, you know what, I want to be an artist. I want to be a dancer. Oh, God. I want to be I don't know, whatever it was that you wanted to be, that you were told, nah, you can't do that. You can't make money doing that, son. Well, I mean, right there. We're not encouraged to figure out who we really are and to share whatever it is our unique gift is, because we never even stop to find out what our unique gift is. Hell, I don't even know if I know what my exact unique gift is just yet. Is that pesky mosquito? But I'm trying to figure it out. And if anything, I can share just being really real. Maybe that's a gift. And if it helps one person, if one of the 7 or 10 views that I get on average, one person gets something out of it that makes them feel a little better, well then, you know what? I'll take that as a win. That's a success for me. You know, and that's the other thing too. We let other people define success for us. What is success? What is failure? By whose standards? By what metric? You know, we are constantly bombarded with other people's ideas. The biggest problem in this world is BS, belief systems, because we have not collectively stopped to ask ourselves, or to think for ourselves, what it is that is really going on. And I don't mean in the world, I mean what is really going on. Like, how did we even get here? What is here? What is going on out in the cosmos? What makes everything tick? Now, I know there's all kinds of answers for that, and there's a lot of believers of science, we'll call them scientism believers, because, you know, scientism is a religion just like anything else. Science is a method. Okay, science tries to get to truth utilizing a specific method. Scientism gives you their version of the truth, or the version of those who fund said science, what they want in the end. If this whole pandemic, and yes, I'm going to call it a pandemic, because at this point, I can use the CDC's actual numbers and the facts that they present and come to the conclusion that this ain't no damn pandemic. Okay? Yes, something is happening, and yes, people are dying. But are people dying more than they ever did? No, they're actually not. In fact, there are fewer deaths overall this year than there were 2 years ago. There's just a whole lot more of them related, called something else, than they were before. But what is happening as a result of this big scary thing out there? We're losing control. More than ever in my entire life have I watched in this past year people give up control, sovereignty, freedoms, all out of fear. And all mostly because, not because they did their own homework, or not because they heard an open and honest discussion. All of that's shut down. Try and find an open and honest narrative that's anything different than the fear-based bullshit that they're pushing, that we're all walking virus factories and that we need to keep ourselves like this and stay distant from one another and locked in our houses forever and sucking on the government teat, and doing nothing except for waiting for our next directive, while those people who are issuing those orders rape the planet. It doesn't make any damn sense to me. I don't understand the thinking that allows for that. Or getting a jab that, if you read the document you have to sign before you get it, that tells you clearly you're taking part in a medical experiment. You're a damn guinea pig. Do you want to be a guinea pig? You're so afraid that you're willing to be a guinea pig? For what? So that you get a pretty star on your ID and you can travel again, you can fly again? Do you want to? Do you want to do that? Do you want to just go back to normal? You know what? Normal doesn't exist, people. It never did. It wasn't real in the first place. It wasn't ever the way that we thought it was. It was just an illusion of comfort, an illusion of security, an illusion of freedom. None of us have been free in a very long time. That's a whole other discussion. You know, and all of the other narratives that are going on out there, and I follow more of them than I would care to admit. There's still this underpinning, right? We're being told we're in a spiritual war. There's a whole segment of I will call them right-leaning individuals who hold fast to the idea that, you know, there's some champion is going to come and save us, and they may in some way. But I've been seeing, this is God versus the devil. Is it? What is good and evil? Good and evil, I'll tell you the best way that I understand it. It's like hot and cold, okay? Hot and cold is not opposites. It's one thing, temperature. Cold is a lower frequency vibration. Hot is a higher frequency vibration. All still the same thing, it's just a different note on the scale, a little different on the octave, if you will. That's what good and evil are, people. It's one thing. Lower, higher. Good, evil. Light, dark. Duality exists in a way, but not in the way that most of us think of it. Not in the way of opposites. Is there a devil? Well, I would have to say there's definitely something. There's some kind of energy that is nefarious and dark, but is it something outside of ourselves, or is it a part of ourselves that every one of us has that is just too damn ugly and scary to face, or to own and say, I could be that guy? I think if any one of us is put into discomforting situations, like, for example, say there's a little food shortage that comes on, and all of a sudden you can't provide for your family the way that you thought you could, and that government check doesn't cover what you need, and Walmart runs out of stuff. All of a sudden, you're a good guy. All of a sudden you start looking around, and you see your kids are hungry or whatever, and then you start thinking, what will I do? Well, folks, that's capitalism working for you right there. I certainly don't believe in communism or any other kind of ism, collectivism. That isn't going to get us out of that, out of what we're in. But we do have to come together. We do need to figure out how to stop dividing ourselves, and how to stop looking at, and how do you resist that? How do you resist that? You gotta love her. You stink, Cowboy. And did you see what's going on here? Oh my gosh. We have to stop fighting ourselves and one another and blaming ourselves. No, we need to start blaming ourselves. But we got to stop blaming one another. This shithole that we're all in, well, I'm not in a shithole, actually. But the world that is imploding around us, the system that is falling and failing, and the veil that's being lifted, it's an opportunity to grow. Are we going to do it? Are we going to find the courage? Are we going to take that inner journey that's required of every single one of us to get out of this? Well, that remains to be seen. But I'm trying. And I know a whole lot of other people are out there too. And so I guess that's who I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to whoever it is that's sick of being the victim, that's sick of blaming everything else, everyone else, all of the world's woes on, I don't know, your dad, your mom, the preacher who touched you. All of us have experienced trauma. I'm no different. I could have gone a very different way in life, and I could have had a damn good excuse for it in a lot of people's eyes. But I think that's true of just about anyone who's lived long enough. Adversity is life, man. There's life is always going to present us with some sort of defining moment that sends us, on one path or another. But even then, it's never too late to turn it back around. And so, where are we going? What do we really want? Do you really want some savior, some white hat wearing savior to come in and restore everything for you? I keep hearing all these people who are pushing this God versus the devil narrative, telling us how, the former president is going to ride back in and restore things and set the world right. At least it's going to make America great again. When was the last time America was really great? When was the last time that America actually gave to its people that which so many at the top claim that it does? I don't know. I know reading Thomas Paine's Common Sense has really given me a different perspective on what it means to be an American. America is right here and right here. It's not in some border. It's definitely not in Washington, D.C., and it ain't ever going to come out of some politician's mouth. That ain't America. It ain't ever going to be made great again by any one of them. That all being said, if we're ever going to be free, then we need to free ourselves from all of these foolish notions and realize that there is one God, not a Christian God, not a Muslim God, not a Hindu God, not a whatever it is, not a no God, not a Satan God, not a money God, not a science God, not a political God. And there's so many different gods these days. They're not all called that, but there's so many different gods these days. There's only one creator, people. Only one thing put this in motion. It wasn't the Big Bang. It wasn't some random happenstance chance. It didn't start out with a single-celled organism that miraculously evolved from a dog into me, or from an ape into me. Sorry, the evidence doesn't suggest that. Not the real science behind it. But that's for you to discover. That's the truth for you to come to. There's one God who created one intelligent, well, arguably intelligent race of people to make this work, and it's called humans. All of us. We're all in this together. Even the assholes that are trying to control us. They're afraid of love. Because in a world that's run by love, they can't control it. So let's not give them anything other than a world they can't control. But it begins by loving yourself, knowing yourself, watching dogs wag their tails in front of your camera while you ramble. Well, I guess that's it. I wanted to shoot a video today, but I didn't have anything I really specifically wanted to talk about. This is what's been on my mind. So, for the 1 or 2 of you who watch this video and might enjoy it, I'd love to start a, little back and forth in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You shoot a video. I'd love to know what the hell it is that other people are thinking. That's not on Facebook. God help us. So, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day, because I know I am. I'll see you on the next one.